Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to bring you my top 10 tips on how to save money on groceries. So let's go. Tip number 1 is to take inventory of what you have on hand. Now, if you find anything that is about to go bad in like a day or two, or you have too much of one ingredient, what I like to do is I'll take that ingredient out, and for example, let's say it's celery, and I'll chop up the celery to the exact size that I would normally use it in a recipe like my chicken noodle soup, which is great, and I'll link it above. And then I'll put it in a freezer bag and I'll label it and I'll freeze it laying flat in the freezer so it freezes like a book. And then that way, not only is it not taking a lot of room up in my freezer, but I can take what I need from that bag, zip it back up, put it back in the freezer so nothing goes bad, and then use up whatever I portion out in a future recipe. That not only eliminates food waste, but it saves you time because it's one less ingredient you have to prep for a future recipe. And of course, it saves you money because nothing went to waste. Tip number 2 is to designate a shelf in your refrigerator for any leftovers, because that avoids any leftovers getting pushed to the back of where things go to die. And also it reminds you every time you open the fridge of what you have so that nothing goes to waste. And speaking of leftovers, tip number 3 is to make sure to use them up. Now, of course, you can heat them up the way that you made it the day before, or you can try to be creative and roll it into something completely different that your family will have no idea what it is. Or if you're just sick of it and you can't think of anything else to do with them, what I suggest for you to do is to take a freezer bag and freeze those leftovers. Now, whether it's a small portion for just one person or a larger portion that can feed a few people, what I do is I put it in a freezer bag and I make sure to label it as to what meal it is. And that's really important, and I'll tell you why. I'm sure most of us have gone into our freezer and pulled out something and you're like, what was that? I have no idea what that is. So what I like to do is label it with the name of the recipe, the heating instructions, and I make sure again that I lay it flat in the freezer so it freezes like a book, and you can stack them vertically, again taking up less room in your freezer. And next time that you're running around and you don't have time to make a meal, you won't be tempted to go through a drive-through or get takeout because you have a meal that you made from scratch in the freezer that all you have to do is take it out and leave it on the counter, let it defrost, and then just heat it up as normal. Tip number 4 is to try a meatless meal. Now, meat, chicken, and fish are the most expensive things right now at the supermarket. So in order to try to save money, and if you're trying to stretch your groceries to last even longer than hopefully a week, what I suggest is to try a meatless meal. Now, I made an entire week of meatless meals for my family, and they had no idea that I had actually cooked a whole week of vegetarian meals until they saw my video, and they were like, wait a minute, did I just eat a whole week of meatless meals? And I'm like, yeah, you did, and you didn't even notice it. And what I did was I went on Pinterest and I came up with some ideas, and then I tweaked them depending on what I had in the fridge, and they came out fantastic. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it at the end so you can check it out. Tip number 5 is to try to order your groceries online. Now, whether you can get them delivered to your home or if you're gonna do grocery pickup, either way, I really suggest you try it. And there are so many reasons why, but here are my top 3 reasons. Reason number 1 is, I don't know about you, but when I'm at the deli counter trying to get cold cuts and I smell that rotisserie chicken, I'm like, I'm a creative chef. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy something that's not on my list. I'm gonna buy that rotisserie chicken and I'm gonna make a gourmet meal. And that rotisserie chicken was not on my list, so I should not have bought it. Once again, buying something that I didn't need and spending money that I didn't plan on. Not even gonna mention the snack aisle. Those cookies, when I'm hungry, I'm like, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. So What I love about shopping online is not only are you not tempted to buy things that are not on your list, but as you're putting things in your cart, before you go and check out, you have the option of looking at everything again, and you have that total. So what I like to do is I look at my total, and if it's more than my weekly grocery budget amount of $180 to feed my family of 5, I immediately go through my list and see what can I delete that I don't necessarily need, that it's more like it'd be nice to have item, but not something that it's a necessity. And that way, when I hit checkout, I know exactly how much I'm spending, and I know that I'm under budget, which saves me money. Number 6, now whether you shop at one grocery store or 2 or more, make sure to shop once a week. Now, I know that we all like to go and try to come up with a recipe, and then you think you have something at home, and then you come home and you realize, oh God, I don't have that item. Do not go back to the grocery store, because, for example, that gallon of milk that you thought you had and then you have to go back and get is not going to cost you $2 to $3. No, it's not. You know it's not. It's going to cost you like $50, because you're going to go in and you're going to say, wait a minute, this is on sale. Oh, I'm hungry. I want this snack. Or that rotisserie chicken's going to end up in your cart even though you didn't plan on it. So no matter what, in order to stay under budget, make sure to shop just one time a week. Which brings me to tip number 7, which is to be creative. Now, if you think you can make a recipe and then you realize you're out of one of the ingredients, instead of scratching your whole meal plan, try to come up with something different that you can substitute in. One time I thought I had enough butter and I was actually baking some cookies, and I Googled what can I put in my recipe to take the place of butter. And I put in some applesauce that I had, and those cookies were so moist and delicious, and my family had no idea that they had applesauce in them. And I was like, score for me. So that's something that is in the back of my mind. Next time that I need butter, I know if I have some applesauce, I can swap it out. But it's as simple as a Google search. So again, try to avoid going back to the store to pick up that one item, which of course won't be one item, and make do with what you have on hand. And honestly, that's how some great recipes get created. When you don't have one thing, try to substitute it for something else. It might change the flavor a little bit, and you have a brand new family favorite. Tip number 8 is to eat breakfast for dinner. Now bear with me a minute. Have you ever gone to a restaurant or a diner and you look at the menu and you see the price difference between a breakfast meal and a lunch or a dinner? It's like half the cost. And why is that? Because eggs are so inexpensive. So when I'm at the end of my meal plan and I think to myself, I think I have enough on hand to stretch my grocery trip not only a week, but maybe 8 days or 9 days, I always go for breakfast for dinner. What I like to do is what my mom called a Spanish tortilla. So I take some potatoes and I cut them up thin and I put them in the oven to kind of make like a baked French fry, healthier version. And then I saute some onions and garlic, and I throw in some eggs, and then I put it in the oven for 8 minutes at 375. And it comes out fantastic. 2 of those pans feed my family, plus leftovers for the next day for lunch. And that's all by actually making breakfast items for dinner. My girlfriend, when she's running out of food and she doesn't want to go to the supermarket until the next day because she doesn't want to break her budget, she takes out the containers of cereal that she has in the pantry, and the kids are so excited because instead of having to eat vegetables, which of course what kid wants to eat vegetables for dinner, they can eat a bowl of cereal. And again, inexpensive, just some cereal and some milk. It stretches that grocery budget for 1 extra day and saves you money. Tip number 9 is to stay away from pre-chopped or pre-made food. Now, one time we were having a barbecue in the backyard and we had a bunch of people coming over. And so I wanted to serve up some watermelon. I went to the store and they had for $6.50 a container of chopped up watermelon. And literally in the same aisle just a little further was an entire watermelon for $5. And I thought to myself, I gotta see this. So I bought the watermelon. It took me 10 minutes. I came home and I chopped it up in pretty much the exact same piece that was in that container. And I had a similar container at home for Tupperware. I filled that thing 3 times. with the watermelon that I paid $5 for, instead of buying 3 containers at $6.50. So what was the price difference? Instead of paying $5 for the watermelon, I would have paid $19.50 for the same amount that was already pre-cut for me. And again, 10 to 15 minutes, that's a good savings. Another party item that I saved money on is one of those crudité platters. They come with broccoli, cauliflower, and some carrots, and then a little pre-made dip. The store was selling it for $19.50. I said to myself, I'm gonna do it myself and let's see how much I save. So I went and I bought the ingredients. I had at home some Greek yogurt, and I added some spices and a little squirt of lemon, and everyone raved about that dip, by the way. And I was able to buy all those vegetables for $6 at the supermarket. $6 versus $19.50. There's no doubt that next time I'm throwing a party, I'm making it myself. And tip number 10, this is by far my favorite tip. And that's because it saves me time and honestly, a day of cooking. So tip number 10 is to plan a day for leftovers. Now, when you're making your meal plan for the week and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm only gonna go food shopping once a week, I'm going to plan 7 dinners. No, plan 6 dinners, because more than likely you're gonna have leftovers. So what I like to do is I like to take my leftovers and lay them out buffet style. I heat everything up in the containers and I put it right on the table, and then have my family go at it. They love it because they have a choice as to what meal I've made that week that they wanna eat, and they can mix it up too. And what I love about it is that 1, I'm not cooking that day, which is awesome. And 2, they're cleaning out the fridge for me to get ready for the next day of grocery shopping. So talk about a win-win. Well, I hope you liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, please click the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and to click on that bell. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.